Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, and today we're starting a new vlog. My best friend for Christmas gifted me with this thing called TBR. It's called Tailored Book Recommendations. And what they do is, I guess you ask some questions and they give you 3 recommendations in hardback. And so I'm excited. We're going to go through this together, see what the questions are, see what I get recommended, whether the recommendations were perfect for me. So I thought I would take you along on this journey. I also thought I would film out here in the sunroom where it'd be peaceful, but I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a bird losing its mind outside. Relax, calm down. Let's see what we've got going on here. Okay, so this is the email that I received from TBR. And so we're just going to get started right away. Just jump right into it. What's my email address? That one's mostly easy. What are your favorite genres? Why would they ask me that? That's hard. Let's go with fantasy, romance, but am I a fantasy romance girly? We love a little literary fiction in there every once in a while. Oh, I do love horror. Is there anything you want to explore more of in your reading life? I'd really like to delve more into horror, more specifically haunted houses, possession, body horror. Also, more works that aren't US centered. The last few books I really loved, and why? I just finished reading Yellowface, and did I love it? Yes, I absolutely did. Characters were unhinged. How high we go in the dark. I love the connectivity within all the stories, even though they all focused on aspects of different characters' lives. What was that to not The Good House? It was atmospheric, spooky, great character development. Bunny. We loved the unreliable narrator, being in her mind, the absurdity of the situation. And then, like, did I love a romance? There's got to be a romance on this list. It's not like one of my past few books, but it was a romance that I really, really did enjoy, and that's Take a Hint, Dani Brown. Dani is probably my favorite of the Brown sisters. Eve, least favorite. And Chloe really got things started off with like a banger, but Dani was my favorite for sure. Her and Zaf, like, they were just, the characters were easy to love. The situation, like the story itself, really played out well, and it was just a good time. And for like a fantasy option, I'm gonna go with not necessarily a book, but like the City of Brass trilogy, because all in all, collectively, I really enjoyed that series. Did I love how it ended? Not necessarily, because I need justice for one character. But overall, it started off kind of slow with City of Brass until we got to like the halfway mark of that. But once we got there, it really picked up. It was overall a very great story to read from, and it's more one of the more recent fantasies that I've read. I actually don't think I've read a lot of fantasy this year. How should your bibliologist balance books that fit your current style with picks that branch out? Mostly familiar, but an occasional stretch is okay. Mix of familiar and stretch reads. Expand my literary horizons. I don't want mostly familiar. I want maybe a mix of familiar and stretch. Here's the thing. What is the goal of this video? Is the goal of this video to see if they can correctly pick recommendations for me? If so, I would need them to pick something that's mostly familiar, but an occasional stretch is okay. I don't want that. Maybe we should do like a mix. something familiar, something that'll stretch me, because I don't want something that'll completely stretch me and then I just hate it. And then I'm like, you know what, these weren't good recommendations, because that's really on me for not liking them and not on them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So we're gonna do a mix. Let's see what they give me. I don't have any trigger warnings that I need to warn anyone about. I don't have any like themes or subjects that I just don't want to read about in general. I think that's it. Ooh, I just saw that I have the option to give them the link to my Goodreads. So that's even more perfect, so that they can see what I've already read, what I liked, what I didn't like, what's, on my radar. And so hopefully that will be helpful to them as well. We've completed it. I'm going to put in all my stuff. Let's see what they give us, and hopefully it's a good time. We have a package. It has arrived. It is now time to find out what it is that has been selected for me. I don't know if it comes with like a explanation of why things were picked or what, but I am excited to see what is in this here box. We're going to find out together. We are going to read these books. So let's find out together. That was weird, Robin. That was strange. Okay, let's do this. I don't know where my scissors are, but we're going to use keys because keys work just as well as scissors, except if you really do need to cut something and then keys don't actually work. Did not tell me it was being shipped, so I just got a little knock from the mail guy and was surprised to see it sitting down there. I'll say it took a couple of weeks to arrive. I'm nervous and excited. I don't know why I'm nervous, because they're just books. Like it's fine. We've got ourselves a little letter. Hi, Robin. Welcome to TBR. I'm Ray. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is a good sign already, because as we know that Ray over at Bookmark Chronicles is one of my bestie, and this person is named Ray. So I'm here to help you find your next great read. For today's picks, I chose 3 books that I think you'll love that balance what you want. Balance what you want more of with your favorite genres. The first pick is a contemporary horror. The second book is a literary fic, and the third a fantasy novel. All right. Okay. So the first book is Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huang. First, you want to read more horror novels that incorporate body horror. That is actually one of the main themes of Natural Beauty, which is why I think you'll like it. The story follows a woman we come to know as Anna. She was a talented musician before her parents got into a horrible accident. Because of it, Anna abandons her career for a job at a high-end wellness store in New York City named Holistic. They bury her in Oh my God, I was like, they bury her. They bury her in beauty products that slim her thighs and smooth her skin. They also give her access to a new world of privilege, but underneath the surface, there's something seriously wrong with Holistic. This sounds amazing. I am excited. I, I have never heard of this, but I really am excited for this. Eerie and entertaining. Eerie, entertaining. I love it. I want more. Let's see what book 2 is. Okay, so next we have On a Woman's Madness by Astrid Romer. This is also another one that I have never heard of before. I'm excited that I have 2 books that I have not heard of or from anyone. So this says, next you love literary fiction, I do, and want to read more stories that aren't centered around the US. So let me introduce you to this incredible novel in translation from Dutch. Originally published in 1982, On a Woman's Madness tells the story of Noenka, a woman trying to find her place in the world after she flees her abusive husband and her home in Suriname. Noenka ends up living in Paramaribo. Can I read? Will I be able to read these books? Because apparently I cannot read. Where she's constrained by society's expectations and her own past. All she wants is to be happy. But is that possible for her? You'll have to read it to find out. It's mysterious, it's ominous, it's Dutch. On to our third book. Let's see what the letter says. I have heard of this book. Now, do I know what it's about? No. This is The Daughters of Ish Jahar by Hadir Elsbay. Last but not least, I think you'll love this fantasy novel that is actually inspired by Egyptian history. The Daughters of Ish Jahar follows two seemingly different women who have a common goal. On one hand, there's Nahal, a water weaver who wanted to study magic, but instead is married into a wealthy family. Her husband, Nico, is actually in love with another woman. Scandal. Georgina, an earth weaver who helps a radical women's group known as the Daughters of Ish Jahar. Georgina and Nahal may meet thanks to Nico, but their paths are more intertwined than they ever imagined. These are our 3 books. We are going to start reading these. I think I'm really excited for Natural Beauty because it just sounds very sinister. And I do want to get into some more horror, especially body horror. I don't read a lot of that, but I don't mind it. I'm very intrigued. I will be back with an update on the first book that I choose, whichever book that is. And we're going to go on this journey together. I am coming with my first update for this vlog. I decided to start with Daughters of Ish Jahar by Hadir Elsbay, and so far I'm really enjoying this. I'm about 40% of the way in, and so far this is what we've got. We have Nahal. She is from a well-known prominent family, and but she is a water weaver, which means that she can manipulate water for magical purposes. And Nahal, all she wants to do is like hone her water weaving magic skills by going to the Weaver Academy. But like the Weaver Academy is notoriously known for really only accepting men, and they do not accept women. Because in this place, Ramsawa, I think is the name of the territory that they're in. Ramsawa is very male dominant. Women have no privileges here. They cannot vote. Men speak up for them. You are either under the care of your father or your husband or a male relative. Like women just, there are no rights here. But because Nahal is from this family, she has a little bit more freedom, a little more privileges than some of the other women would. And so Nahal is like, I am not interested in being married. I just want to go to the Weaver Academy. But her family has other plans for her because they're broke. Her daddy's out here gambling the family fortune away. And so they're like, you know what we're going to do? We are going to marry you to another rich, prominent family, and that will help us because we will get some money. They'll get a wife. Well, the husband will get a wife. The family will probably get a maid of some sort, and we're all happy because isn't this is what you were made for? You were just made so that you were going to marry a man anyway, so here we are. The deal works out for everyone. But Nahal's like, I'm not with the shits. And so she meets her husband, Nico, and he's very indifferent. He's like, hey girl, I actually don't even want to marry you, but here we are. Look at us. Who would have thought? Come to find out, the reason why Nico is so indifferent is because he is in love with somebody else. He is in love with Georgina, and Georgina is secretly an earth weaver. Nobody knows. She's keeping it hush-hush. Nahal finds this out, and Nahal is like, here's the plan. If you give me permission to go to the Weaver Academy, I will give you permission to have a concubine in this relationship. I don't even care. It's right in the contract. Sign it. Let's do this. And he goes like, all right, well, let me see what Georgina's with the shits. While we're also following Nahal and this whole thing, we're also following Georgina, who is from a lower class, and so her and Nico would never have the opportunity to get married because Nico's family would never approve of that. And when Georgina finds out that Nico has married Nahal, she's upset, understandably so. And she's like, you want me to be your what? No. Georgina's just like, nah, bruh, it's not for me. She's like, I need to be seen as an upstanding woman in this society so that people will give me some modicum of respect. And being your concubine and having illegitimate children with you is just not going to be that. Georgina is part of a group of women called the Daughters of Ish Jahar. It is a group of women who are fighting for women's rights in Ramsawa. They want to be able to vote, have their own representation, be able to be in the Weaver Academy so that they can ultimately be part of the war efforts in case war ever popped off. Because why would you not want to have a very strong magical army to fight your neighbors once war comes knocking on your door? I'm actually very interested in this so far. We've got the kind of two plot lines which kind of converge together. We've got Nahal trying to go to the Weaver Academy, and Nico allows it. Women have to pay to attend the academy, while men, no matter what class they're from, as long as they're a Weaver, get to attend and train, and then eventually go on to become a part of the Ramsawa army. Nahal is just like, this is not fair. And she gets word of the Daughters of Ish Jahar and was like, you know what? I've never really been interested in women's suffrage. I don't really care. But if joining this group can help me further my cause in being equal in the academy, then I'm with the shits. Surely women's suffrage and my equal rights have to have something in common, and they can help me. And that's where we are. Nahal seems like a very selfish character so far, and she's really just here to do anything that furthers her own goals. I don't even think Nahal wants to go into the army. She just wants to hone her magical skills. But I am interested in seeing Nahal get into the academy, start to really work on her craft, get into the whole weaving. I wonder if we'll see the other weavers and how they learn their own skills, because you have water weavers. Georgina's an earth weaver, an air weaver. Pretty sure all of fire, the elements. I'm also interested to see what happens with Georgina since she's rejected Nico's suggestion of being his concubine, and where this Daughters of Ish Jahar thing is really going. I would say right now, at this moment, this was a good recommendation for me. I'll be back either with another update or when I finish the book. Good morning. So last night I finished Daughters of Ish Jahar. I think that I am going to give this a 3.75. So this is a political fantasy, heavy on the political, very light on the fantasy. The magic system was very easy to understand. It's your basic elemental magic powers, and then they only come into play to kind of serve certain plot moments, and so they're not woven throughout the entire thing, but heavy on the political, because we're talking mostly about women's rights in this place, Ramsawa, and how it affects upper class women and lower class women and everybody, all the women in between. And so we're really focusing on that as it comes to a head when it's time to vote for women's rights, to give them the vote. Men in this place use the arguments that women are too emotional to make decisions and that men just make better decisions. And so then you have a whole group of women that are just like, but I am capable, I have a brain, I can make my own decisions for my life, for my body, for my business, for anything. And the men are just like, but are you? And so then you have this other group of women who have their weaver abilities, and that makes them even more dangerous because they haven't been taught how to use them. Their powers just go unwieldy. And so the men are just like, you see, when women have power of any kind, it just goes all the way left. And so now we're at a place where I think that the next book is going to have way bigger consequences than anything that we've seen in this first book. I think the first book was really just setting up obviously the world and how the magic system works, but also how the politics of this world works, and how women of all paths are really just kind of screwed by the system. I have to say I did not like Nahal at all. She was just so flighty, because if anything came across her mind and she wanted it, when she didn't get her way, she just whined and screamed through it until she got what she wanted. And it was just like, but girl, that's not actually how life works. And you're screaming about oppression, but like you keep getting the things that you want mostly. And then you have Georgina, who's this more timid character who is, there are times when she's a little boring, and then towards the end I started to like her because I felt like she was coming out of a shell. She was trying to like stand in her own, and I was like, all right, I see you, Georgina, I see what you're trying to do. But Nahal, the whole time I was just like, girl, because people would like get thrown into jail or something. She'd be like, let's just go get them out. Yeah, girl, because that's how this works. That's exactly how this works. You just go to the jail and be like, hey, that person right there, can we get him? Can we get him back? Those are really the two main characters. I mean, we have some of the side characters like Nico, who I think will become more of a figurehead in the second book. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Yeah, that's where we stand with it. I'm giving it a 3.75 for sure. I'm definitely going to continue on to see what happens, where this goes. One book down, 2 to go. I have a relatively slow day today, so I'm going to get a workout in, eat some breakfast, and then I'm gonna settle down and start on A Woman's Madness. Okay. So I'm about 90 pages into this. 90? I've been reading for a little bit now. And I think I'm gonna DNF this. And that makes me sad because I was really looking forward to this one because it was written by a woman, it's translated work, and it's set in a different country. And I am just not getting it. I'm not getting it. So we start at the beginning of the story. Noenka, she is writing letters to someone named Gabrielle. We don't quite know who Gabrielle is at this point, but she's writing letters to Gabrielle. I feel like you can probably tell that she like really loves her, but like that could mean anything. It could be, I really love her as a friend, as something more, whatever. But then she is talking about how she left her husband after being married for a few days, and people in the village that she lives in are like talking about her because she can't just be an unmarried woman. You can either be a daughter living in your family's house, or you can be a wife married to your husband, like, but you cannot be a single lady out here, I guess, unless you're like widowed or something, right? And who leaves their husband after a few days of being married? No one good does. No one good. That's fine with me because I feel like we allude to him being abusive in those first few days. And so it's like, yeah, girl, leave him. Then we snap back in time, and it's just like these little vignettes of her life that I'm not sure how they're coming together. And you have no context for the vignettes, so you're just like, what does this have to do with anything? It's just little tiny snippets of life. And I don't think I'm smart enough to get it. And I gave it a try. I did. 90 pages is no small feat. And I'm gonna have to let it go because my brain is not, they're not working together with this book. I wrote a note like, this is a novel told in the disjointed vignettes of a life filled with vivid imagery that leaves you wondering if this is actually happening or a metaphor for something the author wants to convey to the reader. And I don't know the answer to that confusion. If you are not a fan of non-linear storytelling, this is definitely not for you. But like the way that nothing is making sense in my head, I'm gonna let it go. I have one last book that they chose for me, and that was Natural Beauty. And I know that it has to do with like body horror, so I'm hoping that I love it. Right now, I would say the recommendations are okay. We're gonna move on to Natural Beauty. I'm gonna take a pause after reading On a Woman's Madness because I don't know what the fuck that was. I'll be back after I've started Natural Beauty. I started Natural Beauty. I'm only about 25 5% of the way in, so I'm at like page 60. But I am having a good time with this so far. We have an unnamed narrator who starts this job at this place called Holistic. It is, think Gwyneth Paltrow goop. What's Kourtney Kardashian's line where everything is just like organic? We've got makeup, we've got skincare. It's Kourtney Kardashian's Sephora. She has been employed for this job, which she takes because she's been working at like at a dead end place, and really she was working at that place just to make ends meet. She's living with some roommates that she's not total fans of, but she's doing it so that one, she has a place to live, and two, so that she can take care of her parents who are at a facility, I think because they're either in a coma or they're just not responsive. I think we'll learn more about why they are in that facility, but she's just getting a job so that she can pay the bills for that facility. But like she's kind of behind on the bills. When this opportunity at Holistic comes up, she's like, I'm gonna take it. It's more money and I'll be able to, you know, pay my parents' bills. But I think that she just feels a little more guilty for them being in the facility. Like it's her fault, and I'm not sure why exactly. Prior to being at Holistic or her parents being in the facility, she was a very talented and gifted pianist and grew up in this conservatory. Somebody took notice of her talent and was just like, I want to nurture this, and sent her on scholarship to the conservatory. And so she spent a lot of her time trying to assimilate to the rich white kids that were there. And so trying to hide her Chinese American background and just, you know, be like the other kids, because she thought that maybe if she was like the other kids, if she wore what they wore, if she talked the way that they talked and ate the things that they ate, then they would like her more. Spoiler, they don't. So yeah, I'm there. This place Holistic is very strange. They have to wear like these necklaces that help cleanse their aura, but they provide her with like skincare and makeup because they're like, you know, you have to live the holistic way. You have to buy into the products, which cool. She doesn't have any problem with it. It's kind of like free merch from your job, especially when that merch is so highly coveted by the outside world. Like, why would you not want it? Here's where things get a little strange. Not only do they sell these products, but they do have procedures like in the downstairs of their facility, and they're kind of experimental, not necessarily FDA approved, if you know what I mean. And the techniques are a little unorthodox. So much so that one day she was a little stressed and her boss was like, your aura is off. You should go see our resident aura cleanser person. And so she goes down to see her, and she's sitting in the chair. She's strapped into this chair. Something comes up between her legs, just like a little mechanism, and the aura cleanser person was like, darn, the machine is broken. I'm gonna have to do this manually. Do what manually? So she starts going over to our narrator and starts to help her de-stress. And she's like, you know, this is uncomfortable for me too. And so if you just relax, it'll go by faster. And I'm just like, what? What is happening? What is this? And so it's giving me weirdness, a lot of weirdness. And so I'm very, very interested to see what's gonna happen with this. It's giving me weird like Bunny, but not in the same way that Bunny was weird, but still like this is weird. I can't see how things would get much stranger than what just happened, but I have been told that it does indeed get weirder. I'm having a good time with it so far. Out of the 3 picks that I've gotten so far, this has been my favorite. This one might be the winner of all 3. That's what I have for now. I will come back when I'm finished this, hopefully very soon, and then give my final thoughts on everything. I've just finished my skincare routine, which I think is so appropriate as I bring you this update on finishing Natural Beauty. What a ride. What a ride. 5 out of 5 stars. I think that this is my second 5-star of this year. I haven't had many, but Wow, this was a lot. It was weird. It was so good. I didn't know what to expect from the ending, and I am very satisfied by it. So, in this, we have the unnamed narrator who works for Holistic, and she works for this place, and basically the company tries to whitewash her and turn her into someone that their customers would feel comfortable buying products from. And as she works there, she starts using these products that are specifically designed for her, actually. You know, you think like, oh, I have combination skin or oily skin, so I'm going to use these specific products. And she like thinks that it's just kind of similar to that, but nope. These products are made specifically with her in mind. And as time goes on, she's just like, is my appearance changing? Is it because I'm working at this place? I'm in closer proximity to beauty. And so I'm becoming more beautiful. And then as she works at Holistic, she starts to uncover weird things that are happening at the facility that she works with. She befriends someone who is close to the owner, one of the owners of the. She starts to feel like things just aren't right. Things keep happening. She keeps stumbling upon rooms with secret experiments, secret techniques, and the whole time she's just like, I'm gonna pretend like I didn't see it. And I wish I could also pretend that I didn't see it. The strangeness of it all. And then you get to see how like her past and her present like mesh together, and how things that you thought were a coincidence may or may not have been. Some things remain unclear. This, what a ride. What a ride. I think of all of the books that I got in this subscription, um, this was definitely the best one. For sure, hands down. Just, I think there was this one part in the book, and I was just like, oh yeah, she has to go, where she was, it's not too far into it, so she's working there, and we never know her name, but her boss Sage is like, you know what, girl, I think customers would be more comfortable with you and buying things from you if you changed your name. And like, it's not actually a big deal because everybody here has changed their name. It's just, we love your international name, but maybe something a little easier to pronounce would be more helpful. And I'm just like, for real? This is what we're doing? And this is what we're doing. Her reasons for staying do make sense. The ending was fantastic to the very end, and I was just like, some of these people are really delulu. What am I supposed to do now? What do I chase after this? Thing last night, I finished Natural Beauty, and so let's just wrap this thing up. Taylor Book Recommendations, or TBR, sent me these books on A Women's Madness, which was literary fiction. I thought I would really like it, but I think I wasn't big brained enough to get it, unfortunately. But then we had Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huang. This was body horror. Had a great time. 5 out of 5 stars. And you know, I haven't had many of those this year, and this was one of them. Could not have asked for a better time. And then I had Daughters of Ish Jahar by Hadir Elsbey, and this was a fantasy. I had a good time with it. It was more political than the fantasy part of it, but still very interested enough that I'm going to continue on with the series and see where the next book goes. So all in all, I would say that this was pretty successful. This one did not work out for me, unfortunately. That's okay, because I had 2 others that I had a really good time with. I mean, a 5-star read, wow. And I think that this service is fun to give as a gift, first of all. And if you're just looking for something where you're trying to get things that you haven't really heard of, or you're trying to get into genres that you don't typically read, and you're just looking for recommendations for it and like a hand-picked suggestion, I think that this is a really fun service to try out, maybe subscribe to for a period of time. I had a good time. I appreciate my bestie giving this to me as a gift. Will I do this again with them? Maybe. I mean, I enjoyed my choices for the most part. That's all I have for you guys today. Have you read any of these books? Have you ever tried the TBR subscription? Would you be interested in trying it? But until next time, bye.